Now for analysis on all of this is Professor Jessica Levinson of Loyola Law School. And thank you so much for joining us tonight, Professor. First, let's talk about the Donald Trump-John Lewis Twitter feud. We showed you this story just a bit ago, and in a tweet released earlier in the afternoon, President-elect Trump wrote, "Congressman John Lewis should finally focus on the burning and crime-infested inner cities of the U.S. I can use all the help I can get." Now, Professor, both Democrats and Republicans have since tweeted to Trump to basically back off. Professor, what do you make of all this?
Well, so as your listeners know, I think Representative John Lewis is a hero of the civil rights movement. He was a freedom rider. He was literally beaten within an inch of his life. He crossed the bridge in Selma, Alabama. He has been crusading for civil rights for his entire career. That doesn't mean he's not a partisan. It means he has bipartisan support and acknowledgement of how important he is to the civil rights movement and how much he has done not only as a young activist but as a legislator. It's also been acknowledged by many people that this is Martin Luther King Day weekend, and John Lewis was an affiliate of Martin Luther King and marched with him, and that this is just particularly bad timing. And you know, frankly, I think many other politicians, if they made these statements about John Lewis, I would say, oh, I think they might be sunk. But we've seen that Donald Trump just operates in a completely different paradigm.
Could you say that some people might interpret Donald Trump's tweet, though, as a Trump way of suggesting, hey, let's work together, reaching out in a way?
So I think that this is vintage Donald Trump, where it's a slam and it's a criticism, but then there's something in there that says, well, maybe he's actually reaching across the aisle. I don't think if you read all his tweets that that's what's happening. And John Lewis did criticize him. He said, this is an illegitimate precedent. And it's absolutely fair to discuss whether or not we should be saying that Donald Trump, who was elected, who was the Electoral College winner, is illegitimate.
Now, Professor, I want to move on to a next question. We've heard of several people drop out of this year's inauguration, including singer Jennifer Holliday. Talk about her dropping out and what the precedent is for so many people bowing out of this year's inauguration.
Well, there is no precedent for it. I think I've said this a number of times on the air about Donald Trump. I've said some version of this is an aberration or there's no precedent for this. But we've not seen anything like this in past inaugurations. Typically, performers really want to be part of this. And what Jennifer Holliday said is, I actually thought that I was going to be performing for the people. I didn't understand that this was going to be viewed as a political act. I don't support Mike Pence. I don't support Donald Trump. I'm sorry. I had a lapse in judgment. I wasn't educated on this. And so this is fairly unprecedented. Jennifer Holliday has performed for Republican and Democratic presidents. So we see a lot of performers be completely comfortable crossing the aisle and their fans being comfortable with that. This is different.
I want to jump to our last question because we want to talk about the last key cabinet position not yet filled in Trump's cabinet, Secretary of Agriculture. Who are some names being tossed around right now? So
we're seeing the governor of Georgia, former governor of Georgia, Sonny Perdue. We're seeing actually close to home the former lieutenant governor, Abel Maldonado. He represented a rural district around Santa Maria, a Republican lawmaker who I think would jump at the chance to come from California to D.C. This is an important post. It's historic that it hasn't been filled yet. I think it's been 40 years since we've seen this lag in filling the post. Again, this is someone who is very important to the rural farmers where Donald Trump had a lot of support. Very important in terms of overseeing water quality, food quality. A lot of people interact with the USDA when they go to the market and they see whether or not their food is approved and good to go. So people don't know if this means that it's a low priority for Donald Trump or if it means he's just going through a lot of interviews. And I have a feeling we won't know until he picks.
A very important pick it is. Thank you so much, Professor.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining us. I appreciate it.
Thanks.